Hello and welcome to Scrapping on the Fly. My name is Kristen and I am here with day 18 of 30 Days of Sketches with Christy's Beautiful Life, Series 18. And today's sketch is by Gina Cunningham. And I am using these three pictures of two of my very dear friends and then the group of us celebrating two of my very dear friends. And I made a layout on the 5th of June with another 30 Days sketch to create another picture to go with this. So I'm using the same collection, which is Cocoa Vanilla's Bloom and Grow. Beautiful collection. I love it. And I'm using these three scraps from the original layout. It had a bunch of squares, and so I have some leftovers, just enough to mat the three pictures in the three main colors that are on that layout. I'm going to use some of the very same kinds of things, add some florals, do some inking. I've got a white cardstock and, of course, the papers from the collection and my scraps. I'm going to use a couple bits of mixed media because there is some mixed media on the back, in the back of this layout, and it's also yellow. So I've got my papers, my embellishments, some mixed media, my pictures, and this sketch. So let's see how this goes. So first things first, I'm just going to put down some of the ink. And I am using three different colors that I've already put away. Spiced marmalade, mustard seed, and wild honey. And I just kind of put them in different places. I really think they're just going to do a little peeking out over on the right side and then be more obvious on the left side. So I mapped my pictures on the green, yellow, and blue that I used on the original layout from June the 5th. And I originally was going to use that blue background paper, but the bottom picture is matted in blue, and so it disappeared. So I thought, you know what, I'm just going to use the butterflies, even though it's matte. The base page is white and my paper is white. I will ink the edges and make it work. So I cut this at, I think it's just over 6 inches. Yeah, like 6.5 inches, and then by 11. And to get that little groove going in the corners, I thought I might get my punch out and just punch, but instead I'm just going to tear each of the corners off. And I love the look of it. It's not really in your face. I'm going to ink it all around with black soot so that it stands out just enough. And like I said, there's going to be a little bit of that yellowy, orangey color peeking out from everywhere. But first things first, I'm going to ink. Now, I think I've turned this layout on its side from where I originally had made it. And that is fine. I get that down. Like I said, you can see the little bit of yellow peeking out in the top corner, a little in the bottom corner, and then of course there's plenty over there on the left side. So instead of the big cluster of stars, I'm going to use a cluster of florals. I add the little I am going to add a butterfly, but I'm going to add this rainbow in there. I'm going to tuck a little heart in there in a minute. And then I'm going to make the clusters over here also florals, but I have a little wordy bit for each of them. One says beautiful, the one in the middle says wonderful, and then the one that goes on the bottom picture says stay wild. And I can't imagine any of the people in that picture not staying wild. They're all crazy, wonderfully crazy. Let me just say that. These are some of my dearest friends, one of my eldest friends that I've had for the longest time. And then, of course, in that bottom picture is also my grandson. He is in the top picture, too, just kind of looking at them. I didn't want to cut him completely out, but I did, he's not the center of attention. I know, crazy, but he did go with me. I did take a picture of him at the party in his cool sunglasses. But that's not made it onto the birthday layouts. I'm sure I'll put it in a layout about him. So on the sketch, there's a space for journaling down here in the bottom left side. So I did use a little sticker from the collection. I did use some Nuvo Deluxe pretty much to add everything down because there's ink back there. So I always use wet glue to add things down. The chipboard pieces came from the collection. I just sprayed them with black soot to say black black at heart. Okay, some of you might know my friends, but I don't think black at heart really fits them. Good gravy. Anyway, it's black soot is what I sprayed it with, and then I used the Nuvo Deluxe to get it down. I did splatter it with some Distress Nope. I'm getting too fast for my own self. I splattered it with some Delusion Shimmer Spray to give it a little shine. It is a very, very small amount of shine that you really can't see. Sorry, I had to get a drink of water before I started coughing all over y'all. Added a butterfly, added a bird, added the birdhouse. That way it kind of goes even more with the other layout. And that is it. I did add some wordy bits at the bottom that say enjoy every minute, celebrate the good times. And we did. We're really good at celebrating the good times. We're really good at encouraging through the bad times too. And that's what I love about this group of ladies. So anyway, I hope you'll go check out 30 Days of Sketches with Christy's Beautiful Life. There is a playlist you can find all sorts of inspiration on. There's a Facebook group that you can also find lots of sketches and the inspirational layouts that go with them. And I would love it if you would give me a thumbs up if you like my video and or my layout. I appreciate the time that you spend with me. It does not go unnoticed. I am very grateful for my subscribers and for those of you who just watch. But I would love if you'd subscribe if you haven't already. I hope you all have a great day. I hope you get a chance today to do something you love with someone you love. And happy scrapping.